Hey everybody, I'm going to share a little bit about why I became a Beachbody coach, and I'm excited to share that with you. I was excited to the possibility of creating freedom more than anything else. That was my big draw. I wasn't so much into the money, but I was able to connect the dots between being financially free with the residual income and creating the freedom of time so that I could spend my time how I want. I know some people love their jobs, but me personally, I was never in that camp. I always did my best at whatever job I ever had because that's my work ethic. But it was never really my dream to have a day job. That's just me. So I worked hard. I showed up every day on time, every job I've ever had. I got merit increases. I got along with generally everybody, and it landed me in the unemployment line. Every job I've ever had that I brought the most superior work ethics to, they thanked me by sending me back to the unemployment line. And the last job I ever had, all of our jobs, was sold to some company over in India. So all of us were just gone. And I was going to retire there eventually, but they had other plans. The thank you they gave me for working so hard every day, coming to work sick sometimes, and all these other things was the unemployment line. Eventually, unemployment ran out, and I never did find work again. So I was left with no income, no way to pay my bills, no way to feed myself. I'm a big fan of eating. I was actually needy for my parents again, just like when I was a kid, just to survive. It was a really bad place to be in, and what that did to me from a psychological point of view, I didn't feel good about myself. I felt like a complete loser. And there was a lot of self-loathing, actually, which I hid very well behind a smile that nobody ever questioned. I got very good at that, sadly. But then somewhere in the midst of all of that, about a year or so after my last job, the last day of the last job I ever had, my girlfriend that I was dating at the time, she was a Beachbody coach. I met her through MySpace. Remember MySpace? She told me about this thing that she was doing with Beachbody. I said no. I hesitated. There was a lot of hesitation on my part, so I empathize with hesitation. But I was full of doubt about myself and if this was even real. So it was a few months later that she took me to this meeting with other Beachbody coaches. And I think that's actually what sold it for me. These people, they were real. I was expecting that I was going to be pitched to. You know, not direct pitches, but real underhanded ways of doing it. Because anytime I'd ever been to one of these things, you know, it was always like that. It was the same thing every time. But I went to this one because I was invited by my girlfriend, and I was also told there was a free dinner for me, which I was really excited for back then. But the people I met, they were all real. Nobody was perfect. Nobody was putting on some BS facade about how they had it all together. But, you know, there were people with stories, and they didn't have it all together. They were honest. Nobody pitched me. Nobody did any underhanded thing, or, you know, none of that was happening. It was like maybe 2 days after that event, I decided I got to get into this thing. I'm not excited about going back to work at some job. I was still looking for a job because I figured I didn't know what else to do. I had to have a way to pay my bills and support myself once again. But at the same time, I was always thinking in the back of my head, there's got to be another way because I've never had another job show me an ounce of loyalty that I've ever shown any job. My loyalty was up to here, and the loyalty returned back to me was down to here. It was not fair. It's not fair at all. So thankfully, after building this thing up, gosh, my health wasn't that great. 30 years old I was when I got into this. One flight of steps was enough to take my breath away. That's not good at any age, especially at only 30 years old. So I'm like, okay, an opportunity to fix my health and my wealth, get healthy physically and financially at the same time. Okay, sign me up. And I was already meeting all these people that was already doing it, and I wasn't greeted by all these sleazy salespeople. And then my girlfriend at the time, she was doing it. She was getting healthy. Her paychecks were getting big. She lost a lot of weight. She came off her asthma medications. It's like, this is hitting everything. I've got to do this. So after 3 months of hesitation, I signed up. I said, sign me up. I have to do this. So in 90 days, I fixed my health. I did P90X. I went from being out of breath from climbing 1 flight of steps to climbing the Sears Tower, which is 103 flights of steps, and being out of breath. But I did it, and in great time too, which is pretty amazing. And a couple years after that, or 2.5 years after that, I called off the job search permanently. I never did find work again, thankfully, and I became a free person, which is what I had dreamed of. So that was an amazing milestone to achieve. So in a nutshell, that's why I became a Beachbody coach. Now fast forward a couple years after my first 2.5 years where I achieved that milestone of being a free human being, I started buying all these houses, these multi-unit buildings, and I focus on low-income families. I'm able to fund all of that. My Beachbody income is the only income that I have, and I bought my first 5 multi-unit buildings focused on lower-income families, and guess what? I don't need to take any money out of that whatsoever. All of it goes right back into itself, which is why I'm able to buy so many so quickly, and I'm able to house all these people that don't have a lot in a way that doesn't threaten their ability to put food on the table and keep the lights on and pay all their bills and so forth. They have these beautiful places to live, totally remodeled, brand new just about, refurbished, and clean, high quality places to live that are just beautiful. And nobody around here can compete with me because nobody else is building something like a Beachbody business first to fund all of those things. So nobody can compete with my prices. And I have like the lowest tenant turnover rate in the city that I know of. Because everybody else I talk to that does something like this, always turnover. I don't have that. I don't have that problem here because this is like beautiful for people that have these homes because they're so affordable for them and they're so clean and they're so quality. And I don't take out any distributions at all. That's an important point to make for those of you that have got more of a philanthropist heart and you want to be able to do more beyond yourself. So this one income I have with Beachbody covers my livelihood because I don't have a job, don't want one. Covers my livelihood, my lifestyle, my traveling that I do because I've always wanted to travel. That's a dream of mine. Now I travel. And also all these houses, these multi-unit buildings that I'm buying, it funds all of that. And I take out no distributions from that whatsoever. So far, I haven't. Pretty cool. And I'm able to donate more than I've ever been able to before. Before I wasn't able to donate anything because I didn't have an income. But now I can donate. I can be there for my parents. That's important. They're in the sunset years of their life. I will never get this time back. I'm making it count. I'm also adopted. I knew my entire life I was adopted. And I just found my birth family for the first time in my life just a few years ago when I turned 35. And when I turned 35, I had already been doing this for 5 years. And it was after my 2.5-year mark where I became free. So can you imagine having found them long distance? They live in Colorado. I live in Wisconsin. And not being able to go out and see them because I don't have the money to afford airfare. Or I run it by a boss who says, no, they need me because they're short. And a gatekeeper denies my request to go visit and reconnect with my birth family for the first time in my life. Can you imagine if I didn't have those freedoms? That's something that I think about regularly. And then as you hear me talking about all this stuff, draw your own parallels to whatever's going on in your life. And then there's also going to be some parallels that you can't draw because stuff is going to happen tomorrow that you have no idea about. No idea whatsoever, but it's coming. It's a mystery. We don't know what it is. And it's like the way that I look at, you're either going to be free to do it because you got the resources, you got the funding, you got the freedom of your time, or you're not going to be free and you're not going to be able to put your focus and your heart and your soul where you bleed for your heart and your soul to be because you can't, because you have to have this other place you got to be where somebody may not have approved the time off, or you don't have the money to come up with the funding to do what really matters that your heart bleeds to do. And I think about that stuff every day. In fact, every time somebody looks at this opportunity to build a residual income spreading health, I'm thinking about that for their sakes, as well as how I think about it. Gosh, I'm so grateful for I made the decision to take care of that so I don't have to worry about those things, so that I can put my heart, my soul, my focus where my heart bleeds to be. That is the world to me. And I know it's the world to you as well. When certain events in your life happen, it means the world to you to be able to put your heart and your focus where it needs to be without having to worry about money, funding, resources, time, and all those kinds of things. Another coach said to all of us, which I totally agree with, which is why I'm going to share this with you, but she said, you don't have a choice. You have to take care of your health. You have to. So it makes sense to build a business around it and to build a team of other people that are going to build a business around health and fitness too, so that more people get healthy. We all want to help people, but we've also got internal reasons why we want to do this too. So I love being able to do this and not having to be weird, but to be able to be myself and not to be somebody that everybody thinks of when they think of these type of things. I don't have to do that. And it was demonstrated to me just before I decided that I was going to do this. So those are my reasons why I became a Beachbody coach. As you hear other reasons and you find other reasons, whether it's my story or somebody else's story, just draw parallels from all the stories to your own, because there is something that you're looking for a better way, and I think there's a really good chance that you're going to find it here. So thanks very much for watching, and I'm very much so looking forward to seeing who's inspired to do what after seeing this video and everything else that you're going to see. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.